Hello, I am Anawultus, and today I'm going to expand a bit on the type of political philosophy that I have been talking about for some time now. This here is a diagram showing the general structure of the type of government that I am proposing. So, uh, if we zoom in here, I made this on short notice very quickly, so there's not a lot of detail to it. So let me just get to 100% zoom here. Okay, so what we have, the rectangles represent groups, the circles represent individuals. So here, these rectangles on the bottom row represent the members of each community. So it would generally be similar to a municipality in a sense. And they then each elect their leaders, which are these circles on the second row from the bottom. And then the leaders appoint representatives to go on to a higher body, who then elect their leaders, who appoint representatives on a higher body, who then elect their leaders, and so on, depending on how large the government is. And of course, there would have to be a process to expand the government if it needed, in a both horizontal way and a vertical way. Now, I'm not proposing that there would be 5 communities each here. That may be a bit too small for the size of a group, but I'm just saying that this is an example. So, now you may ask, why this exact structure? Okay, so in principle, this idea keeps the most power in the hands of the local government, so the second row from the bottom. So what would happen is the people as a society would elect leadership that goes for whatever their interests are. And since it's local leadership, it is more likely to be well held accountable. And then, if there's a problem with that leadership, in every particular interval of time, they can hold a vote of no confidence and a new election to replace the leadership. Now, then the leadership appoint representatives to a higher body. Now, you may ask, why appoint? Why not have the people also elect the representatives to the higher body as well as their own leaders? Well, here's the problem. That's actually what I think is a problem for a couple of reasons. First of all, there's a potential of the representative and the leadership having conflicting interests, possibly as a compromise between partisan issues. There may end up being 2 individuals of particularly different persuasions, which would be problematic. Additionally, this would allow the people at the bottom to countermand the votes of their fellow citizens in their community by potentially electing a leader to a higher body that would have the ability to in some ways restrict the power of the lower body, which is something that I generally think should not happen. And that's why the appointment is made. And another reason why the appointment is made is to ensure consistency in government, in the sense that if the leader here appoints someone and the appointee does something that the leader does not approve of, the leader can remove the appointee from his position and replace him by simply recalling him and putting someone else in, which, if it were a more electoral system, would be more complicated. And this would help in situations where the appointee might be working in some way that the leadership at the lower level does not approve. So it gives them power to determine what the main issues are on the higher level, which I think is important. So generally speaking, how this would actually work out societally is that a leader might have a particular list of appointees that he proposes to the people to run with him on his ticket to be the leader of his community. Now, I'm being very vague when I say leader because I'm not assuming that there is a particular type of government here. What I am assuming is that there is a government that is elected locally that then has the power to appoint members to a higher government. Now, these guys get together and they collectively can elect a leader above them. Now, you may ask, why did I separate the leader from the body? The reason I separate the leader from the body is because I want to make sure that they are separate positions, so that if you are anywhere, if you are any circle on this entire chart, you cannot be any other circle on this entire chart at the same time. Therefore, the leader is in some ways impartial in some sense, and also cannot be recalled by someone down here, by one of the lower leaders. So this leader is only accountable directly to the individuals who elect him and cannot be recalled by the lower leaders unless they all together appoint individuals who want to elect someone else, in which case he would, of course, go out of office. And he appoints a member of a body above him, and the reason it's appointment is for the same reason as earlier, to increase the rapidity at which a bad apple can be removed. Now, just to be very clear, although the power of the leaders on the row second to bottom is indeterminate, and the local community might choose to elect a leadership that has very significant amount of power, maybe perhaps even almost totalitarian power if they really want to. The power of the leaders on the higher levels is more parliamentary, in the sense that they more preside over the body and do not actually have the same degree of power as the leaders at the bottom here do. And one reason why I have this system is so that the people at the bottom can't give power to the people at the top to weaken the people in the middle. So it keeps a bit of an order. And by having this, it essentially creates a bit of a pyramid of power by which the ideally one would say that there's generally a trend towards power hunger, but by keeping it so that in order for someone above to get more powerful, they would have to take power away directly from those beneath them rather than countermand them by going around them. It means that power is less likely to seep upwards and more likely to stay local in a general sense. However, by also creating degrees of separation, it does also mean that when there is power that is appropriate for particular levels, it's not something that anyone can interfere particularly with from the lower levels, unless it is something that is viewed generally tyrannical, in which case you would see replacement of leaders along the line all the way across and then going up and up and up until you get to the top. But generally, this also means that the government is replaceable and fully replaceable, which I think is also very important. So anyway, you get an even higher body and then a leader above that who is elected. Oops. probably should not have it such as that. It should be that. That's the body electing him. It's not this person appointing him. That would be very bad. So tell me what you think. Is this in is this a superior system to the federal system, where in the United States, where you have the people voting for the state, for the local government and the state government and the national government, and therefore putting the governments in competition, which of course the national government is going to win? Or is there perhaps some other issue that I did not address here that should be addressed? I'm always happy to hear questions, so that whatever issue does need to be addressed can be addressed more effectively and more fully, because I don't expect that in my mind, although people do compliment me on my intelligence, I do not expect that I am capable of thinking of everything when it concerns how a governmental structure should function. So I think it is important to get feedback when it concerns that, so that I can refine my ideas and potentially solve problems, so that before anyone actually tries doing something like this, we'll have the trail blazed, essentially in troubleshooting potential issues that might arise. So anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will be seeing you all next time. Anawiltus over and out.